Hello my loves, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. Hi, hello, my name is Loey. Me and my pink wig are back today to actually talk to you guys about some haunted dolls. Haunted dolls. The world of haunted dolls, paranormal objects, remains to be, at least to me, one of the most fascinating parts of the internet. I think it's because you as the consumer, I was talking about this a little bit on stream, shameless self-promo, twitch.tv/LoeyStromboli. I stream there multiple days a week. But I was talking about on stream how I feel like paranormal items are so fascinating because you as the consumer kind of have to do like the homework for yourself. You have to decide as you're looking at something online whether or not this is a real haunted item or if someone's just trying to make a quick buck on a vintage porcelain doll. You guys know that I have my beloved 1940s haunted doll, Queen Fancy, here. If you have not already heard my stories about her here on my channel, she is the love of my life. I adore this doll. I could not imagine my life without her. And so today I was thinking, you know, I meditated on it one night and I was like, Fancy, what if I got you a new sibling? Now my members only video this month is actually going to be a spirit box video, a little session talking to the queen herself. So make sure to check that out by joining my channel. You can just press that little join button next to my name somewhere around here. You may have to do it on desktop, but I had kind of meditated and you know, sometimes I meditate and I just talk to Fancy. Sometimes I just kind of hang out with her. It's what we do. We watch movies, we hang out. And I was like, how do you feel about a sibling? And she was like, okay. So I pretty much like kept her involved in the entire shopping process. And if I got bad vibes from something, that meant stay away. And I really only got good vibes from one doll. Without any further ado, let's talk all things haunted dolls. Today in particular, I have 10 different haunted dolls currently on Etsy right now. Some of them may be sold out by the time that this goes live. I know that one of them already sold out even from the time that I had put it in my cart. Haunted dolls are a hot commodity. So get yourself a drink, get yourself a snack, and let's settle in and talk about some haunted dolls. This first one that we have, and I'll have everything linked down below if you guys want to read along. I'll also have the screenshots from each listing. This one is from an Etsy seller called Old Haunted Dolls. I also want to say that every single one that I am listing today, I believe to be true. I can't speak on that. Like, I don't know if they're haunted or not just by looking at them, but the stories seem believable. They seem really interesting. They have interesting stories. So yeah, this first listing was actually for 3 haunted dolls, specifically in the description, rare, sisters Bessie and Barbara with baby must go together. Chaotic activity, not for beginners. I'm a very beginner haunted object keeper, and so I do not want anything chaotic in my life personally. I'm looking for that grounding, that positive energy. I'm chaos in myself, so this would just kind of, you know, we would all clash with each other. Not a great fit. However, when we look at the photos of these dolls, I just felt like I had to talk about them because they're so interesting. They look very handmade. Is that the word I'm looking for here? Interesting. Interesting. Why do the eyes look real? Why do the eyes look real? At least on that one. On the other doll, I'm like, okay, that's a doll, but ugh, this one kind of freaks me out. Anyway, so we have the sisters, Bessie and Barbara, and then this cute little baby crying in one of their arms. And the item details are as follows. These 3 haunted dolls will not be separated. Bessie in first picture with baby Thomas, so that was Bessie with the baby. Barbara with the red hair in the second picture. These 3 very unusual dolls were found in an attic of an abandoned store in Tennessee. They are sisters, Bessie holding the baby, Barbara with the red hair. So Bessie and Barbara were sisters. The seller had had them for over 10 years now, and the dolls have told them a lot about themselves as well as each other. They were both killed when a mountain mudslide let go and buried both of them, causing their death along with baby Thomas at only 4 months old. Bessie was 35 years old and Barbara was 30 years old. The baby was only 4 months old. They lived all the way up in the mountains in Tennessee and were real mountain people. They had kinfolk all around the area. Barbara got pregnant by a trashy mountain man, according to Bessie. Sounds like the way that your sister would talk about like a man who didn't treat you right, so believable. And they were already so poor they could hardly buy any food. Along with that, Barbara was on the wild side and would leave the baby with her older sister Bessie or their aunt so she could run the area. After having the baby, Bessie talked her into letting her care for the baby, who Barbara had named Thomas. Now, then the dolls, the vessels, were found by these spirits, and this is where they want to be. They also wanted to be together, although they argue all the time. Barbara claims she didn't give Thomas to Bessie to keep. Bessie claims that she agreed to have him as long as she wanted. Thomas cries to go to his real mother's arms, but Bessie will not have it. Bessie clings to Thomas and will not share him with Barbara at all, even though Barbara is better to quiet Thomas down and get him to laughing. Bessie is a jealous and bossy sister still. So that's interesting. Bessie, the sister who was taking care of Thomas while Barbara's like running all over the place, is the one holding Thomas now, holding him as a doll. And then Barbara, his real mother, his like biological mother, is not holding. It's just interesting, I guess. Now, both of the ladies had a very hard life as they were extremely poor and not well educated. Both of them were raised in the mountains and according to this were abused by family members. They were not protected by their mother, and their father was also just a bad person. Both Bessie and Barbara went barefoot most of the time, and their clothing was nasty looking, let alone their teeth. Neither one knew what a dentist was and never owned anything new. Both of these women grew up with one looking like their dad and one looking like their mother. I will caution you, as both of these spirits cause chaotic activity. Lights come on for no reason. You'll hear a stomping on the floor. Barbara likes to go outside at night and sit if she can. She will have a beer or two. Bessie does not drink or smoke, but Barbara will try. Both of them use bad language, and you may see a bright flash of light when they really get into it. Both will move things around the home. Bessie goes into the kitchen always looking for a snack or something to spoil the baby with. They love animals and will call them to play. Barbara always wanted a dog, but her father would not allow it. I have dreams of these sisters tearing each other's hair out, most likely because Barbara can be pretty mean. I've seen her try to bite Bessie and drag the baby from her arms. And clearly this is not like as the dolls. The dolls are not getting up and moving. I think this is more like dreams that she's having of these spirits. They can both fight like two dogs going at it, but there are also times where they laugh and carry on together. They talk about when they were kids and the things that they went through. They neither one know how to read, but they love hearing music as they will jump to the floor and dance with each other, swinging around and twirling their dresses in the air. They love a good game of cards and like to gamble. They both have tattered clothing and tangled hair. They really look poor and are in stained clothes, both of them. It's not funny that they look poor. It's just, what does poor look like? They are funky looking, and even though Barbara likes to get a smoke once in a while, they have no cigarette smell on them. I have a non-smoking home and have never smelled anything perfume when she gets into mine. Bessie could care less about makeup or perfume as she is a very plain woman. As far as the baby Thomas goes, you may see him crawling down the hall as Bessie will let him run for a bit when she is in the shower. The main one you have to watch out for is Barbara. She can cause a very bad storm to come up, and you can see lightning bolts everywhere. She shows shadows and orbs. She loves drama, and if there is drama happening, she will insert herself into the middle of it. You can expect her to be very entertained by these backwoods folks, and you may hear about some things you could never have dreamed to happen. They say there are many secrets in those mountains, tricks they have learned to scare people with by the best of them. I'm asking you, if their energy intimidates you, please keep away from the children. They can get very nasty if they feel threatened, especially when it comes to baby Thomas. He lost his hand in the mudslide. About the 3 dolls, I don't know what they're made of. It could be clay, but I don't know. They are approximately 10 to 14 inches tall, and I didn't measure the baby at all. They're in really poor clothing. Shoes are like some sort of clay or resin. And that's pretty much it, aside from just disclaimers that are mandatory on all Etsy pages. This was by far the most detailed and intense story, and the one with like the most backstory on the people who are supposedly haunting these dolls. Now, I think this one is interesting because it's just like, how did the seller find all of this out? Is it through spirit box? Is it all through dreams that she's had about these sisters? The dolls are so unique that I don't feel that you can look at them and see anything but these sisters when you see their faces. Like, now that I've read that story, I'm like, yeah, that is Barbara and Bessie and baby Thomas. And that family trauma is just crazy. Fancy gives those dolls a solid 9 out of 10 in terms of entertaining story, but a solid 0 out of 10 on whether or not we would let them into her home. She doesn't like them, I think, because I do not get good vibes when I look at them. From the exact same seller, and I kind of wanted to include this one, both because it's interesting, but also because I wanted you to see the difference in how like detailed and intense Barbara and Bessie's stories are compared to this doll, Amanda. Now, Amanda is a porcelain and cloth doll, a ghost doll, a spirit doll from old haunted dolls. And as we can see, when the seller holds up like an EMF reader, it says here that we are in the caution zone. The danger light is not lit up, but this is a very active spirit in this doll. She's really, really pretty. She has like this curly brown hair and these gorgeous blue eyes. Her lips are a really pretty shade. She's just like a pretty doll. And the item reads, "This is Amanda. She was only 16 years old when she passed away in a car crash on a main highway with her parents and sister on a summer vacation. Amanda reads as using caution on the EMF reader, and with good reason. Amanda looks so beautiful in her sparkling dance clothes. However, she can be a very sneaky spirit, and like many other teens, she can be hard-headed and supposedly talk back. Amanda also likes to cause havoc at times. She sneaks out to scare the neighbors, sometimes blocks away. I'm not entirely sure what that means, like maybe blocks herself away. She likes to get into your makeup and leave it out for you to clean up, or she might help herself to your lipstick if she feels like it. Amanda can be heard outside at times as she roams the yard looking for animals that might be outside, howling as a dog as she runs around. Neighbors have reported seeing flashes of light around 2 in the morning, so bright that it woke up their children. I've had Amanda for about 3 years now, and she wants to travel on so she can be near spirits more her age. She can be a troublemaker, so if you feel you are attracted to her, make sure that you are ready for her, as she can be a handful. Amanda likes to make noise at night and rattle things around. She will also sometimes ignore what you are saying to her if she thinks you are going to get on to her for something she's done wrong. She needs a tough but kind spirit keeper that doesn't let her get by with just anything she wants, because Amanda can be very disrespectful and sometimes downright mean. Amanda does miss her 14-year-old sister and will sometimes get very sad because of it. At this time, you need to talk very kindly to her, offer hot chocolate, and let her know you are there for her. Amanda shows orbs and sends out energies for her spirit keeper to be safe and loving. She loves children and dogs. Cats scare her just a bit, as she says one bit her before and it scared her really badly and it really hurt. Amanda always wanted to become a famous dancer, and this is why she chose this vessel to hold her spirit. The doll is made of porcelain and cloth, approximately 15 inches tall, and she's in exactly the same condition that she came to me. So, Amanda, very, very interesting. And already there's like so much to go off of. And I think it's just so interesting when stories have so much detail. Like, I feel like Fancy's definitely had a good bit of detail, you know, what her seller could find out. So, sorry, I have to be so delicate with her. She's a very old doll. She doesn't come down very much, actually. This next doll, it is still in my shopping cart. I'm gonna be really honest with you guys. It is still in my shopping cart, and I feel like it is a no. Like, much like Amanda, I feel like I don't want to bring any like chaotic energy into my life, especially not with like all of the things that I currently have going on, starting new projects, moving, things like that. Like, I need to stay grounded and positive. And as much as I love these haunted dolls, and I think haunted vessels are so interesting, this next one, while it fascinates me, I don't think I should bring in. And I'm gonna tell you guys about it, and you can kind of let me know what you think down below. And I'll tell you my reasoning for why I'm so interested. Now, this one is from My Spirit Doll Boutique, and her name is No Name, Mysterious Circumstances. Haunted. I just feel really tight, like in my chest and in my throat when I look at her, when I talk about her. Her vessel itself is pretty freaky, obviously. Made out of wood, very lifelike looking, and her mouth is permanently kind of agape. But I think it might be because I know her story that I find her so unsettling, but also so sad. So unfortunately, the item details reads, I cannot get a name on this doll for some reason. The sad thing is she keeps giving me the number 749, which makes me think somehow that that's what they called her. She was dropped off at an institution of some sort. I saw visions of it, and it looked like a horror house to me. She was in a huge, tall, dark building, sort of like an asylum or an orphanage, of which I have no idea. And she has a hard time communicating to me, which makes me think she never learned to speak or even express herself. I would love for her to go to a very patient and loving home, to someone who will take the time to sit with her, figure her out, and give her the care she never had. I feel like she was just a number wherever she was, which is extremely awful. She's confused, scared, and doesn't realize what's going on around her. So she's definitely someone that needs extreme patience and communication and love. I do have to warn you, there are times that you will hear a grunting, scratching on the walls, and even someone dragging themselves on the floor. She doesn't do that to scare you. It's her exploring, and that is just her way. And like when I first read this story, I just started weeping. Like I get teary even rereading it now. Like, that one really like messes with me. Like to think that this spirit was just like a number in her life. Like it was sad, and I think that I felt such empathy for her that was why she went into my car, because I was like, okay, I gotta take you home, I gotta show you love. But I think I would get really scared, and I would worry that I would be so scared that I might end up rejecting her, which would not be great for a spirit clearly who has had a difficult time through life. I would never mean to, but you know, we can't hide things from spirit, so that's why I haven't purchased her. But she's still really interesting and really beautiful and sad. The next doll is actually from Nancy's Haunted Dolls, and this is Creepy Lacey, the feral teen. It kind of reminded me of the last doll in a way. Lacey's doll is really, really, really freaking pretty. She's actually sold out at the time of filming this. She ended up selling, but I still wanted to read her story. This is Lacey, and she's a feral teenager who lived isolated from human contact from a very young age. She came from an abusive family who kept her locked up and isolated from any human contact. She was kept in her bedroom since the age of 2. Her neighbors never knew that Lacey's parents had a daughter because all the years they lived there, they never saw the parents with any kids. Lacey was nonverbal and never learned how to walk properly or speak because she was in isolation for so many years without human contact. She died at the age of 16 when she developed pneumonia, and she was also severely underweight. You will experience creepy sounds coming from her because she never learned how to speak or express herself. She will appear, if she appears, looking spaced out and confused. She's completely harmless, but I do warn you that her creepy sounds will send chills up your spine. And I thought it was so interesting that from 2 different sellers at like 2 totally different points on Etsy, basically, I found these 2 dolls that were so similar and gave me like such a similar feeling. Maybe it's because of like my motherly instincts. I'm a very motherly friend and person. I like to take care of people. I think that's also just the Taurus in me. I'm a huge like empath and homebody, and I like to make people like feel at home and welcome and safe and secure and everything. So I think reading these stories just like really, it got to me. The next story is not quite so sad. I mean, they're all sad because they're all about, you know, these spirits who have passed on. I keep seeing little twinkles of light out of the corner of my eye, and I feel like it's because Queen Fancy, she loves the spotlight. I'm telling you guys. I wish I could bring her out more, but in case you can't tell, I can't touch her that much. She's falling apart. Girlfriend, our movie nights are enough. But isn't she so pretty? I love her. Anyway, the next doll is from a shop called Mira Spiritualist. Now, this one is so interesting looking. Titled Haunted Doll, Spirit Vessel over 100 years old. She was a kind soul before she passed. I'm just going to read you the description before we look at more photos because I think that's also important. Now, this doll is named Martha, and she's fully made of wax, so she can't go anywhere where it would get super, super hot because she would literally melt, which is super scary to think about. Wax dolls, man, that's crazy. Martha is from the late 1800s, and she comes with her rocking chair. The seller writes, I am ready to place Martha with a new guardian. She's been with me for over 50 years. Imagine having a doll for 50 years and then just deciding it's time to part with it. Like, That's insane. Martha needs to be in a place where she'll be loved and cared for. She comes to us from the late 1800s. She is well over 100 years old, made out of wax. She's a unique companion that once belonged to a Norwegian child from the Pacific Northwest. Martha was one of the first items she was given in the New World. It was the child's most beloved possession. The little girl's name was Olga. She was bright and funny and loved the outdoors. Olga loved helping her Grammy in the kitchen bake pies and breads. Now, the little girl entrusted with Martha fell ill and passed on during the early 1900s. Her grief-stricken family kept Martha as a reminder of the child they lost. The little girl was so attached to Martha that she was always kept as a bridge between one to the other. Martha was a constant source of comfort to the little girl's mother, who believed that her daughter spoke to her through Martha. Martha has survived world wars and the death of many loved ones, always maintaining the innocence of the little girl that once owned her. She always watched over her, Martha that is, always sat in a rocking chair by her side, even during the illness. I was entrusted with Martha such a long time ago, but she's ready to move on to a new guardian that will love and care for her too. And then it explains no children, no one under the age of 18. She needs a safe place to rest and to watch over a new family. She enjoys listening to big band tunes and sitting in a cool spot where she has a view of the gardens. She's a remarkable lady with a long history. If you want a lifelong companion spirit vessel, please consider taking Martha into your home and accept her into your heart. She deserves it. Martha will make her presence known by resting a hand softly on your arm or a whisper in your ear. EMF readers have captured a child's voice associated with Martha, and also that of an elderly woman, often reciting prayer. Occasionally I'll get a whiff of perfume near Martha, modestly of course, never overdone. Humming sweet lullabies have also been heard from Martha. You may also hear the giggles of the little girl, forever innocent and playful. Martha is a treasure and will be a comforting light in your home. Martha and the child are uniquely bonded. Martha believed it was her charge to watch over the little girl, and when the child passed so suddenly, it forever forged their bond that transcends this physical plane. Many a night as I lay sleeping did I hear the tiny footsteps running across my hardwood floors. I often hear the gentle creaking of the rocking chair too. Martha and the child she belonged to are one, playful and kind, together forever. A new guardian must respect this bond. Paranormal activity is likely and to be expected, which of course I will not be held responsible for. So that's actually like the sweetest, most beautiful, sad, such a story with this doll. And to think that it's in something as fragile as a wax figure, a wax doll that can melt in the sunlight, but it's been kept pristine for over 50 plus years at the very least. That's how long that this seller has had it. And apparently the doll belonged to a young girl in the late 1800s. So the doll has been around for a long time. When we look at her now from the side of the rocking chair, I feel like she just looks so kind. Before I had really read her story, this photo of her in the rocking chair actually really scared me. I felt like she looked sort of, mean, I guess, and I don't even know why, because that's not like her energy at all. And then also there is a photo of Olga in 1907, which I thought was so cute. Next up on the list from Metaphysical Mountain, we have this haunted vintage doll, I can't say the words, Erzabet. Active and playful. Erzabet is still for sale at the time of my recording. Erzabet is an active spirit who resides in this vintage doll. Her origins are unknown, but she is active. Sensitive individuals should use great caution before purchasing. Her clothing is that is original of the doll. She's an 18-inch doll with the original dress and painted shoes. She does not have a history of maliciousness. Her most common activities are noises, electrical interference, objects disappearing and reappearing elsewhere, furniture movement, or the sounds of movement. So not quite the story that we've had with every other doll so far. Those have all been really lengthy. But this doll looked so interesting, and I don't know, I just got like a weird vibe from it. Almost like this motherly vibe. Like I don't feel anything bad, but it feels very there. It's there, you know? So 2 more dolls on our list. This first is from Mystic Treasures Finds, and it is a classic old haunted Raggedy Ann doll. Who's surprised? I feel like Raggedy Ann dolls just have a very intense personality, as it were. I actually used to have one that was the exact same model as the Annabelle doll, and she was just a giant Raggedy Ann, but she has been lost and is somewhere in a bin, somewhere in my house and or attic, waiting to be found. Now this one reads, Haunted Paranormal Evil Spirit Doll, Demon Possessed, Buyer Beware. Active Scary A3. Now, as we can see from this photo with the Ouija board, the doll is fairly large. It's actually a Raggedy Andy doll, I think. I don't know the difference between the two, if we're being totally honest. But this doll, reads the item details, has a very active and powerful demon in it. It is pure evil and just bad. My coven has tried to get rid of the spirit with no luck. He is currently stored in a box in a safe place, but we have decided that someone else who deals with demon and evil spirits may be able to help him. We haven't been able to get much information from him because, quite frankly, he scares us. We love to try to help any and all disturbed spirits, but can no longer work with him because he is beyond our help. We did have some other spirits that were similar. We know that one did make it to someone who has been able to work with her. It has been documented online through someone else on YouTube. Once again, someone else sent us this doll that someone was hoping we could do something with him, find someone who could help, but once again, we couldn't handle it. We fear him. So many things have happened. He's angry and we can't control him. Buyer, please beware. I can't be responsible for anything that may happen, but if you feel that you could work with him and help him, then please. He's all yours. I only hope that someone out there can help this spirit. Many blessings, love and light. A very intense story about this seemingly very haunted doll. The weird thing is I don't get like those crazy intense vibes from him, which must make it that much scarier because like he's so, I guess you wouldn't suspect it from like this Raggedy Andy perhaps doll. This last one is from my personal favorite haunted doll, haunted artifact. It's one of my favorite stores on Etsy actually, and this is from Alternate Clothing. Now they're based out of Australia and this doll is Glorie. This sad girl is lonely and wants to be loved. Committed guardian required. Now this is a really long one, so settle in for a minute. I wound up taking like 4 screenshots of this story. Glorie is not going to be for everyone, I know, but there is going to be someone who will love her. The words of her past guardian. Glorie came to me through the brother of her past guardian, a feisty, outspoken, but incredibly kind lady who performed in stage and theater for years. Theater was her life and soul, and I so wish I could have heard all of her stories. I was incredibly fortunate to collect Glorie from her original home, and the theater and stage props and memorabilia in the home were amazing. Glorie was part of her act and traveled with her guardian always. I went to the apartments of the previous guardian to meet with and collect Glorie, and I was told how she was often displayed standing in the hall, which is how I captured the first images of her. I have included them in the listing as Glorie is and can be a little surprising on first sight. Glorie was used in a ventriloquist type act, yet her mouth does not move. She was created in the likeness of her previous guardian when she was young, and Glorie does have that very distinct 1930s, 1940s face and hair. Her face has been retouched a bit when needed and is a heavy ceramic. Her hair is a bit tatty. Glorie originally had wire rods attached to her arms and head, which were removed when she was retired from performing, and this now gives her the more slumped, relaxed posture she now has. Glorie wears a vintage knitted dress and lace-trimmed bloomers. Quite the fashionable queen. Her hat is quite tatty but original to her. Her shoes are also quite worn. On her passing, her previous guardian had entrusted her brother to move on her bits and pieces, meaning that she had a very explicit request for special pieces, including Glorie. Glorie is to go to someone who will love her. She's not a freak, her past guardian's words. And she's to go to a home where she'll be taken care of forever. On this, she was very firm. Therefore, Glorie must go to a forever home. You must be able to commit to having her with you always. Glorie is a larger size vessel, and I have her seated in her own chair, as she is quite floppy, and I feel she is best sitting rather than standing. Her head is heavy, and I feel she is just better and more comfortable sitting. She appears quite comfortable in a soft old chair, so this might be a nice idea for her to have some cushions and comfort around her. She is quite the grand lady, and does tend to command the attention of the room and whoever is in it. Rightly so. I have had many people comment on the vessel moving, her expression changing, and the vessel shifting position within the chair. This is reported by her past guardian's brother, and in his words, she moves around. I don't think Glorie would ever be told what to do. She does her own thing. Her past guardian openly referred to her as a spirited vessel or a haunted doll, and her friends and family were well aware of this. Her previous guardian lived alone, and Glorie was a companion, often seated at the table during meals, having her own chair in the living room where her previous guardian enjoyed listening to music. In other words, she's not a stick on the shelf with other dolls kind of vessel. She's very much so a personality in her own right, and she will not be happy stuck away somewhere. Again, I stress this. You need to be aware that Glorie is unlike any others. Upon meeting Glorie, I was very aware she isn't happy. Her previous guardian's brother stated to me that she looks like she has been moping around since my sister died. This is quite apt. The light has gone from Glorie's eyes, and she needs to be loved and feel that companionship she's missing. I feel she would be a wonderful placement for someone only who wants that one special haunted vessel, or someone who wants that special someone to have at home, rather than a collector or someone who has a lot of vessel dolls. At the moment, there's a lot of sadness around Glorie. She's been left behind, and she was always with her previous guardian, so the sadness is understandable. Do you feel her pulling towards you? I do feel there is someone very special for Glorie. Please step forward if it is you. For the reason that Glorie has quite considerable needs and requires a very special guardian, I've been in no rush to move her forward for rehoming until now. She's been with me for some time now. She's quite the grande dame, as it were, and she is a quite commanding presence in the home. When you enter a room where she is, you are quite arrested by her. I had a tradesman come into my home a few weeks ago, and he was amazed by her, and even asked Glorie, not me, if he could take a photo with her. But his exact words were, "Can I take your photo, my love?" This makes me smile, as this is the sort of reaction I speak of. People interact with her as a personality, someone else in the room, not a doll. An older lady who came into my home recently advised me that she has a Mae West hairstyle. She's created quite a lot of interest with colleagues of mine, and a number have asked for her photo. I've had people ask if they could come see her. I think being a stage and theater personality shines through quite easily with Glorie, and you become aware of it very quickly. She's very much used to attention. Having Glorie in the home, I have become very aware that she is restless in the night hours. Footsteps and almost what I want to call pacing is what we hear quite a lot. I've heard a faint cough a number of times, and shadows and a distinct feel of someone entering the room. You turn your head to acknowledge that someone has come in, only there's no one there. Her presence is instantly noted when she enters the space. Do be aware of this. If you will find the distinct feeling of someone in the room with you, this may cause you to feel some disturbance, especially if you currently live alone. Glorie does like to touch you, and I've had cold touches on the shoulder and arm many times. Cold spots and feelings of chills and goosebumps are what were most reported most often to me by her past guardian's brother. She sighs a lot, and I often hear her do this. One of my cats is besotted with her and stares up at her in a quite adoring fashion. Glorie is very much the personality. I've often smelt a very heady, rich, perfumed fragrance with this vessel, quite unlike anything that I wear, and I cannot place it. I want to say something like perfumes, Shalimar or opium. Even though I cannot recall smelling these, they are the words I want to use to describe the fragrance. I have heard in the wee hours sounds like a large group of people all together. Many voices, like a late night soiree. I feel Glorie does still like to keep the ways of her past guardian, who adored having groups of her theater friends to her home for music and for talking. Do you have a theater interest or background or collect these items? If you do at home, Glorie might be for you. To break away from the story here, this doll is so freaking cool. I really want her to go to like the perfect home, you know? So if you're hearing this, listen, there's a hefty price tag on her for a reason. She's a very, very unique, special doll to begin with. Like, physically, a very special, unique ventriloquist doll. But also, like, she sounds so cool. I've seen the shadow of a woman quite a few times since Glorie has been staying with me. She's slender and tall and wears a long, flowing garment. I very much see her side profile. She keeps her head down and appears to be walking, looking at her feet. I've spoken to her many times, and she will raise her head as if to look up, as if she has heard me. Then she vanishes. She's connected to the vessel, but I have no further details or information on her, and feel she's a trace haunting, a record of energy that is attached to the vessel. Session with Spirit brings through an older man who has a stage connection. Upon discussing him with the past guardian's brother, I feel he is a relative of the family. He's quite benign and nothing to fear. There is a very little girl connected here as well, who stands to the side in a white dress. She's tiny and she does not step forward very far. I've attempted to draw her further, but she does not come forward. There are also 3 female spirits who are very connected to Glorie, and they are definitely a unit, as in they have been together for a long time. Like sisters, Spirit Box has given me in connection with them. So the phrase like sisters. I have Nan and Nanny as names given connected here. There's a very small dog. I love that. And he comes through quite often, yet I do not have him connected with any of the spirits. So I don't know where he came from. He's just a random ghost dog. Just like hanging out with a haunted doll. He just like sniffed the doll one day and he was like, yeah, I'll see you later. Like, I love that. I'm given the word seance a lot in sessions. Glorie's past guardian often attended these and held them in her home. There's a lot connected here to this vessel, and I feel there is one for whom she's going to reach to. There will be a distinct personality for whom Glorie will mesh with, and I believe you will know if it is you. While I'm holding her on my lap typing this, I am suddenly given the strongest smell of butterscotch. This happens so often with her. Smells and scents are very common with this vessel. And then an update. Footsteps again last night on the floorboards. I have no bare floors in my home, and yet there is distinct walking back and forth heard on the floorboards at 3:42 a.m. I also have had 2 photos knocked over in the room where I believe the sound originated from. Please do not hesitate to message me about Glorie, and the seller is really open to communicating with people if you have any questions, if you want to know if a fit is right for you, if you feel like you're connected to Glorie or anything else, make sure to send them a message. I'm sure any of the sellers in this video would be happy to talk with you. That all being said, dear Fancy and I, we've actually had a bit of an adjustment period because we are no longer a family of 2. And no, this is not a pregnancy announcement, but I did get another haunted doll. After a lot of consideration, a lot of meditation, a lot of trying to think about what Fancy would find comforting, because if you have not seen my previous videos on Fancy, she needs a lot of attention, so she requires a very dedicated guardian, or else she throws little tantrums, like following me to Nashville, Tennessee one time and just running around upstairs in an Airbnb I was staying at. That was fun. She was not pleased I had left her behind because she always gets to come on road trips. So, you know, I thought really long and hard about it, and with her permission, with her blessing, I did bring a new haunted doll into my life. And so, if you want to see a video on it, then stay tuned. I want to say thank you to Kai for being a member of my channel, and if you want to join us, get an extra video every single month, plus other really cool perks, you can always join my channel by clicking that link. It's somewhere here on YouTube, just that little join button, and join our little family. We would love to have you, and it's been a really fun community so far. That's it for me today, guys. So thanks so much for watching. Give the video a thumbs up if you did enjoy. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. We love, oh, her little head. We love you so much. We hope you're having such a good day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.